Alright lads, today we're going to be talking about Enlisted, whether you should start playing it in 2022. If you played Enlisted when it first went into open beta, you probably thought it was a little bit of a glitchy mess. Same as me to be honest. But it has come on a long way since then, and it's fast becoming one of my favourite games. And if I'm being completely honest with you lads, I've enjoyed playing Enlisted these last few weeks more than I have enjoyed playing War Thunder. But for those of you that don't know, Enlisted is published by Gaijin and uses a lot of the models from War Thunder. It is developed by another company, but as I said, it's basically an asset flip using War Thunder's tanks. This is a positive because War Thunder has a lot of great content, but you could also view it as just a lazy asset flip. But we'll get to the positives and negatives of the game later. For those of you that don't know, Enlisted is basically a free-to-play shooter. It's basically everything Battlefield 5 should have been in my opinion. It's free, class-based, has infantry, aeroplanes and tanks. It's also very realistic, has multiple theatres of the war, and has multiple different game modes. So let's cover a little bit of that. If you go into the main menu of Enlisted, you'll see in the top right hand corner, just below your play name, it'll show you what campaign you're currently on. If we click on the switch campaign, you can see that we currently have 4. The Battle of Moscow, the Invasion of Normandy, the Battle of Berlin, and the Battle of Tunisia. At the time of recording, these are the only 4 campaigns available at the minute. Although there is a Pacific War campaign rumoured to be in development. The Battle of Moscow takes place in the early start of the war, in the invasion of Russia. The invasion of Normandy is quite literally 1944, invasion of Normandy. The Battle of Berlin takes place in the very last days of the war in 1945, and the Battle of Tunisia takes place in North Africa, and uses British and American troops, facing German and Italian troops. Today we're going to use the invasion of Normandy as a basis, as I feel most people have a pretty good understanding of what took place in Normandy. Now we have our campaign sorted, what about the gameplay features? Well, first we need to talk about the squads. In the top left you can select the soldier tab. You will then see the squads on the left hand side of your screen. I've progressed quite far the Invasion of Normandy campaign, so my screen will be a bit different if you're a newer player. Whereas in War Thunder, you take out an individual vehicle at the start of a match. In Enlisted, you take out a squad. These squads consist of 3 to 9 individual soldiers, of which you control 1. The other 2 or 8 are AI controlled, but you can switch between them. This means if you get killed in battle, you can take the place of another member of your squad. So if you have a squad full of 9 men, you essentially have 9 lives. Although these AI squad members can be killed by other enemies. While these AI squad members can be a bit janky, it does give the impression of a real World War II environment without having the massive lag of 128 player lobbies, which in my opinion is quite a good thing. Here we're looking at a premium American squad, armed with the Browning M1918, the BAR. This squad has 4 men. Premium squads cannot be changed, although the tech tree squads can be changed. If we click on the campaign tab next to the soldiers tab in the top left hand side of the screen, we can see all the different squads available. These squads can be unlocked by playing the game, and if we click on the Axis tab next to the Allies tab, we can see all the campaign levels that the Germans get access to. Each of these squads essentially has a slight difference between them. We can see here in the level 3 Germans that we have the 191st Engineer Battalion. Engineers differ from other squads, as they can construct things on the battlefield, such as sandbags, spawn locations, and fixed gun emplacements, like anti-tank guns and anti-aircraft guns. The next squad is an attacker pilot. This guy gets a plane with a 30mm cannon and 4 rockets, and it's his job to attack enemy ground forces. The next squad we have along is a 275th Pioneer Battalion, who is armed with a flamethrower. As you could assume, it's this guy's job to go into enemy horde positions and burn them out. So you're starting to see how I said it's quite like Battlefield 5. Different squads have different rules on the battlefield. I think this is a good game feature, and it does promote teamwork, as a friendly player placing a spawn beacon near an objective is a fantastic way to aid your team. If we want to jump into a game, move our mouse cursor down to the bottom right hand side, and click the big orange button saying start. You can't miss it. At the start of a match, on the left hand side of the screen, you'll see the complete list of all the squads that you have available to spawn. You can spawn any squad you want at the start of a match, with the exception of vehicles, which are limited to 2 tanks and 2 aircraft per side. So if 2 of your friendly choose a tank, then unfortunately you cannot spawn in this squad. At the end of every battle lads, you'll see a screen that looks like this. Now in this case we lost, but that doesn't matter. It also shows us our accolades that we earned during the fight. And if we scroll upwards, you can see all the squads that we used during this battle. We achieved 2 levels here, for both infantry battalions. The 220th and the 174th. Now if we go back to our main menu, you see that several soldiers have an arrow next to them. This means they've leveled up, and we can choose a new perk. If we also go to the upgrades page, we can upgrade the squads themselves. The squadron upgrades allows us to increase the general XP of every member of the squad, and then branches off to other upgrades. The personnel upgrades allows you to increase the rank of each soldier. So the rank 2 that we're purchasing now will allow us to get each soldier up to rank 2. Well, that's pretty much it, lads. Let's go on to the pros and cons of Enlisted. So, the pros and cons. Well, to start, as a pro, I think the game is incredibly realistic. At least for most modern World War II shooters. There's no stupid skins, there's no real out-of-place weaponry, and there's no bloody women running around, quick-scoping everyone in sight. When you're playing the game, it does feel quite realistic. It feels very immersive when you're actually in the battle, especially if you're playing with a good set of earphones and have the volume cranked up. The artillery and Stuka sounds are absolutely terrifying. The guns are also very meaty and just feel very rewarding to play. I'm a big fan of bolt-action rifles, and when you use rifles in this game, they feel very strong and usually one-shot kill. Most other World War II games, everyone's running around with fully automatic weaponry, which just wasn't the case for the majority of World War II. 90% of the enemies you come across will be using bolt-action rifles, with the exception of certain classes as we mentioned earlier, such as the Assaulter who has a submachine gun, and the Flamethrower who usually has a flamethrower, obviously. In terms of gameplay, I can't really criticise it. It's fun to play, it feels rewarding. The one downside though, it is very grindy this game. Now we move on to the cons. Just like War Thunder, it is published by Guardian after all, it is incredibly grindy. This is the marketing strategy of pretty much all free-to-play games though. They have a decent game, but it's hard to progress. So they get you to buy premium account, as well as premium squads and aircraft and vehicles. These things do decrease the grind and give you unique and powerful weaponry, sometimes borderline overpowered, but it is a little bit of a scummy marketing scheme. You could argue it's pay to win, but it's more pay to progress really. You get frustrated playing the shitty squads, so you dosh out your cash and get yourself a top tier tank for $50. Looking at you, Premium Sherman Jumbo, and that is pretty much the case for all the sides on all the different campaigns. There are premium squads and premium vehicles which have a distinct advantage over non-premium squads. In the Battle of Berlin campaign you can literally buy yourself a premium Panther tank, when most other players are using T-3485s or Panzer 4Js. This gives you great armour and a great gun, and if you stay well behind your friendly infantry, there's nothing the enemy infantry can do to really kill you. Another con, but it isn't really a con to me, is the time to kill. It's incredibly fast. If you aren't the best at first-person shooters, or you get frustrated easily in games, then Enlisted might not be that fun. I said that bolt-action rifles are very strong in this game, and you pretty much get one shot from any shot from a bolt-action rifle. This means the first person to achieve an accurate shot is usually the winner of an engagement, which to be honest is pretty realistic, and as I said it doesn't bother me at all. I'm quite a good shot and I do well in Enlisted. But for a younger player who isn't really experienced with first-person shooters, it might be a pretty brutal experience jumping straight into Enlisted. That's pretty much all I've got to say, lads. It's a great game, but it's very grindy. It's got the same dodgy premium system as War Thunder, where premiums have a distinct advantage. I do generally think that Enlisted is probably the best World War II game on the market at the minute. Battlefield 5 was an absolute joke. Battlefield 2042, I know it's not in World War II, but it's still an absolute joke. The game is free to play, so download it, see if you like it. I do generally really like the game. I've been playing it while I've been off for Christmas a lot, playing it a lot more than War Thunder. I did start my gaming career, if that's not too cringe, playing first-person shooters, the same as pretty much every one of you. COD 4, World at War, that sort of stuff. So I'm a little bit more biased towards first-person shooters, I do enjoy them a lot. But like War Thunder, it's a free-to-play game, so download it, it's not that big, try it, see if you like it. I love it. Frankly, I don't really care if you download it or not, I'm just giving you my opinion, lads. So thank you very much for watching. This video is probably a bit longer than usual. Just found out all my family's got COVID, so don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, lads, thank you very much, boys. I hope you all have a very good new year, and thanks again for watching.